actually going to use your mic. So if you guys would you put your hands together and welcome Kellie Keaton to the stage?
Hey guys, how are you all doing? Okay, so I just wanted to share with you a little bit about what God's done in my life since D now. If you didn't get to go, that's too bad because it was awesome. But two words that really stuck out to me that our speaker, Wade Morris, talked about was conviction and obedience. I know we've all probably heard that word before, or those words before, but for me, at least, they hadn't really affected my life in a long time. And one thing that he asked us, Wade did, was, when's the last time that you wept and grieved over your sins? And for me, I thought, well, I'm not really that big of a crier, so I don't need to do that. I can just confess my sins, no big deal. And often it would sound a little bit like this, like, oh God, sorry, I did this today. Please forgive me. I promise I'll never do it again. And then I found myself confessing the same sin again the week after that. So obviously I didn't really take it to heart, and it didn't mean that much to me. But going back to the word convicted, that sounds criminal-like, and I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a criminal, but because I don't do bad things. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't steal things, I don't cheat, I don't do any of that. But into the world, that seems like I'm a pretty great person. But the world doesn't know my heart, and my heart hadn't been broken and reconvicted of my sins in a really long time. So that night when I got home from D now, my heart was broken, and I truly grieved over my sins. My heart had been calloused, which is another word that Wade used to describe our hearts, but my heart had been hardened by the world. And this made it difficult for me to obey the calling that God was calling me to do. I wasn't being obedient to that. And I can think of a lot of times when God was telling me to do one thing, and then my selfish ways would get the best of me, and I deliberately do my own thing and go against what he was asking me to do. But over these last couple of weeks, God's done some life-changing things at me, and it was really scary at first because I was so set on my plan, and I thought everything I had set out was right. But knowing that I'm being obedient and following his plan, I realized that his plan has so much more to offer than anything I could have come up with. So I like his plan a lot better. Also, after realizing that, how arrogant and disobedient I've been towards God's call for me, I realized how big of a barrier I had created between me and God. Like, imagine God on this, or the world on this side, and then God on this side. And I had pretty much roped myself, tied myself to the world. Like, imagine that boat rope, it's really thick. But I tied myself to the world because I liked how my life was going, how I had planned it out. And then God and I were linked in arm in this one. And God was like calling me and telling me, please, like, follow me, like, I have so much more to offer you. But I was like, no, I really like how my life is going over here, and I didn't want to, like, untie the rope. So when I finally listened and obeyed and grieved over those sins, that's what I needed for me to, like, release the chains and, like, the rope that I had tied to the world. And so now I'm committed to being obedient to God, and we're arm in arm, and we're on a straight path, and I'm following his plan, and I'll never be changed to the world again. So that's all I have for you guys.